Welcome back. My final guest is Randi Rios Castro, the CEO of Jawonio. Welcome, Randi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So delighted to have you on the program, and really so it gives our residents an opportunity to learn a little bit about you, also to learn a little bit more about Jawonio, which is an incredibly important agency that's located and headquartered right here in Clarkstown. So why don't we talk a little bit about your background? How long have you been with Jawonio? What got you into the field of disabilities?
So I've been with Jawonio for about 2.5 years. I've been with the disabilities field for over 25. I started my career in human services right out of college, and I started working at Westchester ARC early on as a guardianship advocate. Then I moved up into a quality assurance role. From there I went to OpenGate, where I spent 19 years, again working my way up from quality assurance up to Chief Operating Officer. Back in about April of 2018, I interviewed for a position at Jawonio, part of a succession plan to take over for Jill, and I started there in July of 2018, and it's been a wonderful experience so far. Jawonio is definitely a wonderful place to work, has a lot of really great people, a lot of wonderful programming, so I'm really happy to be a part of it.
So, in referencing Jill Warner, the longtime executive director and CEO of Jawonio, who just recently retired, and has really kind of made her mark on Jawonio throughout the years. So, some big shoes to fill, but
Yes,
you're well able to fill them. So,
thank you.
Maybe we just speak a little bit about Jawonio itself. Our residents who maybe they drive by the building, they see the campus in northern New City, and maybe they've heard a little bit about it, but they don't really know what goes on there. Maybe you could just give us an overview of the agency, some of the main programs that the agency operates.
Sure. Jawonio is a pretty diverse agency. We have very large developmental disabilities programming, so we have residential programs, day habilitation, supportive employment. We do some pre-vocational services, day habilitation services. We also have a mental health program. It's our PROS program. We have early intervention, so we usually birth through about 2.5 years. We have our preschool program. We also have a consumer-driven personal assistance program. We serve probably about 250 people through that program. And we have an Article 16 clinic that provides PT, OT, speech, some counseling services. We just moved into our brand new building, so we're pretty happy about that. It's definitely going to be a huge improvement over the trailers that were there since the 70s. Right. And a lot of programming will be able to take place there. We have Cornerstone that operates in that building with us, so that's been a pretty good partnership for us, and definitely a resource for the community.
Mm-hmm. So Jawonio really is a full-service human service agency.
Yes.
You basically go from early childhood intervention to adult services. You probably run the gamut. I mean, your youngest client is quite young, probably a year or two old, and your oldest is what, probably into their 90s, right?
95.
95. So it's a broad swath and breadth of human experience here within Rockland County. How many folks do you serve altogether, roughly?
I mean, I would say we touch probably about 10,000 lives every year in some capacity or another.
Right. If we could talk just a little bit, I know you have your early intervention program, you have your school. Could you maybe just speak a little bit to those services?
Well, our early intervention program is combined education with also therapy services, so they're center-based as well as home-based services. We have children that come in that have all kinds of needs. We're providing physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech services to those children. They get an educational component. For those that don't come into the program, they're home-based, and they will, the therapist will go into the home and push in there and deliver the services there. A lot of the services are also currently being delivered via telepractice because of the current situation with COVID, and that's pretty much across most of our programs. In our preschool, we have about 110 children this year. We have a hybrid approach, so we have some children that are actually in the school and then some children that are getting those services also through telepractice.
Right. I know one of the things that, every year you'll have Halloween celebrations that a lot of the elected officials will be able to go to over at the school,
Yes.
which is at the lower end of your campus, and which is a great way to kind of. What I love about Jawonio is you have always made an effort to try and bring people that had been kind of hidden, and put away, and put them out in the forefront. And the way in which you do that is really bringing a lot of public folks, elected officials, and community leaders, and put them in and immerse them into settings like that where they have an experience with young folks and certainly with your clients as well in some of your adult services. Maybe we could segue into the adult service portion. So you operate a lot of group homes, day programs, day habilitation in the community. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about those services as well.
Right, so we service, in our adult program, it's usually people that have aged out of residential schools and or high school. So they get involved either through our day habilitation program where they're getting services out in the community for the most part. Again, right now in COVID, a lot of that's being done via telepractice. We have our community employment program where we employ a large number of people. They come in, they get evaluated, we help them with job placement services, completing their resumes, getting them interested in different areas. We have our cleaning company that also employs a very large disabled workforce. We're in a number of sites throughout Westchester, Rockland, Orange counties where we're cleaning in a lot of the public buildings, MTA sites, the courthouses. So that's been really huge for our population and getting them trained and getting them jobs that are meaningful to them. In terms of our residential services, those are really for adults 21 and over. We have on occasion taken people a little bit younger, but always over 18. And those houses are throughout Rockland County. We have services in Westchester too, where it's primarily supportive employment. We have day habilitation programs. We have some drop-in centers down there for our mental health programs.
Right, and maybe, again, we could segue also now into some of the mental health services that you offer as well, the PROS program. It's a critically important program, and frankly, there's been a lot of changes in Rockland County over the last number of years with the closure of the hospital and the clinics, and Jawonio has really stepped up in a lot of ways with some of your programs. So maybe you could speak a little bit about the mental health services.
Yeah, our mental health program is really, they've been operating throughout the pandemic. They have been delivering all these services. We had to go early via telepractice due to COVID in that program, and they have been, doing classes. They have their counseling sessions. They provide psychiatric services to people throughout Rockland County in that program. So that has operated without a hitch, and the staff have really done a tremendous job keeping people engaged and offering classes that will help them, on their road to recovery.
Right. So again, I think what's been great is you're giving like a broad overview of just the breadth of the services that Jawonio offers, and I think you've got to be the largest not-for-profit human service agency in Rockland.
Yes.
And you've been an innovative agency for very many years, and you're the new CEO, just standing on the shoulders of a bunch of innovative CEOs before you. Jill, Paul Tendler, going all the way back, Goody Katzen. So some really unique folks that have been there and have really put their stamp on the agency, and we're certain you're going to put your stamp on the agency as well. But let's talk a little bit about now what's new, what's next for Jawonio. So your new headquarters, which there's going to be some major changes on the campus. Maybe you could walk us through what that's going to look like.
Right, so we just put up the 70,000 square foot office building, again to replace all the aging trailers that were in significant disrepair and costing quite a bit of money to keep them going. So we're still in the midst of our capital campaign, raising money towards the new building, and all of the services that were on the campus as well as services that were in New Hempstead are going to be relocated to the building in New City. So that, that is going to be a major draw. The trailers will all be coming down sometime around mid-November, and the full campus redevelopment should be finished sometime around June. There's a lot of landscaping work that's going to get done after those buildings come down that won't be able to be done over the winter.
So it's going to be great for the folks as you go past your campus, because it's going to dramatically change a lot of those buildings that are there. You're going to see
Yes.
come down. You'll see a lot of new landscaping, new parking, and it's a beautiful new building which
Right.
will meet your needs going forward. You mentioned the capital campaign. So how can folks help? I mean, how can they contribute to the capital campaign?
They can go online, www.jawonio.org. We have a button on there for fundraising, the foundation department. They can go and click right on there and help to support us.
Right. And you do have an upcoming event in early December to celebrate the service of your longtime CEO who's retired. I know Jill is still somewhat involved with the agency through efforts of the capital campaign, but could you tell us a little bit about that and
Sure.
how people can commemorate Jill's service and support the agency?
Right. We have a virtual gala scheduled for December 6th. We'll be honoring Jill Warner and her 12 years of service as a CEO, 28 in total for her commitment to Jawonio. Again, people can visit our website, www.jawonio.org. They can go on. There's a virtual page where they can go on and just click any donation level they want. Every little bit helps, especially in current circumstances where we've been impacted significantly by, budget cuts. So.
Right, and that could be a whole nother show.
Yes, that could.
With the struggles with agencies such as Jawonio, and I know I had a lot of sleepless nights myself through some of the budget crises in the past, working in not-for-profit agencies, and certainly what we're facing now, both at a government level and for not-for-profits, is going to be pretty stark going
Yes.
forward, based upon the pandemic. And so whatever people can do to support an agency like Jawonio so they can continue to touch those 10,000 lives each year, it's important to do. So
Yes, it is.
Clarkstown, I know, is incredibly generous, and hopefully from
Yes.
this you'll get some folks that'll reach out.
We are very grateful for our community. There's a lot of really great people that have stepped up, especially over the pandemic. I mean, we've gotten donations of masks, food, just an unbelievable amount of people that have really said, we're here and we're going to help you. And I think Jawonio has been a staple in the community, and I think that people recognize that and they want to help.
Yep.
And any amount helps. So.
Right. So again, so folks get out and check Jawonio out on their website and go to their foundation, contribute to the capital campaign, contribute to the event recognizing and honoring their retired CEO, Jill Warner. So that's all the time we have. Randi, I want to thank you for being a great guest. And,
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for shedding some light on Jawonio.
Thanks.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.